Good evening, everybody. My name is Eric Perugini. I'm here with Chris Lahiff and Patrick Hausman, and this is another edition of the Philly podcast presented by CEVSports.com, coming to you live on the StreamYard.com app. Tonight we're going to be talking some Philadelphia Phillies, but first, before we get to the Phillies, we will be talking some Philadelphia Eagles and discussing the Chris Sims quarterback rankings that has a lot of Eagles fans up in arms over Jalen Hurts being ranked 40th. So, with that, gentlemen, good evening. How are you? And let's get some talking.
Hey, what's up, guys? How are you doing?
Awesome.
Oh, real quick, I just got an alert. Tyson Fury test positive for COVID.
So Tyson Fury.
Yeah, so Fury Wilder 3 is postponed.
It's a shame. I'm a fan of the Gypsy King. Big fan. I don't know if many people know this. I don't know if you two guys know this, but I suffer from a lot of the same mental illness issues that Tyson Fury does. So seeing him, come back from all that, being a spokesperson for that, trying to be the face of, getting yourself right mentally, has me obviously, very committed to the root for that guy. So I hate to see, the Gypsy King right before his big fight with Fury for the third time, see something like this happen. So hopefully speedy recovery and we get that fight in sometime in, before the end of the summer.
Yeah, I think they'll get it in. As long as he's not, deathly sick.
Yeah.
So. But other than that, we're going to go into the rankings of Jalen Hurts and his 40th ranked by Chris Sims, who I know he wasn't a very good NFL quarterback, and I know he was. And then something else came out today with Dan Orlovsky, or maybe it was yesterday with Get Up. I'll get into that too. But we got a lot of Sully fans right now. And Chris Sims is on record as saying that Patrick Mahomes should have been a number one pick that year, even before he signed his contract, even before his MVP year. So I don't understand what did anybody see in Jalen Hurts that would make him a top 32 quarterback? Out of all 32 quarterbacks, what did anyone see other than he can run the ball?
It was. I think they're just they're over-evaluating him. They're overhyping him just because of the situation that happened last year with Carson Wentz's obvious regression. Whatever the reason is. I mean, now things have come out where he wasn't truly happy in Philadelphia. He felt that the organization let him down. So his heart wasn't into it. His play suffered. And Jalen Hurts came in and was a little shot of life. He was something different, something new. And for a lot of the gullible, they automatically make this guy out to be a Hall of Fame type player. I mean, you've read social media. You've read what people are saying on Twitter, what people are saying on Facebook. People honestly believe that this kid is going to be like Lamar Jackson. And they honestly feel that way. And honest to God, I hope he does. I hope he has somewhat of that kind of a career. I mean, Lamar Jackson's had early success, just like Patrick Mahomes. But I'm not on board with this, throwing everything on this kid at one time and touting him the next big thing, because it's, how can I say it? They need to sit back. They need to step back a little bit and just evaluate and see. There's reasons people are drafted where they're drafted. There's reasons they get ranked where they get ranked and projected, in the combine and what you see from when they played in college. Jalen Hurts has the ability. He has a lot of stuff to work on, like Lamar Jackson. I mean, the kid had early success as an MVP already. He still has a lot to work on his game to refine it. So it's it's just tough. Like I can't get on board when people start this stuff, and I showed you screenshots of a conversation in a chat group that I was in, where I got very heated, and a woman said that Jalen Hurts was already proven to be a better quarterback because black quarterbacks have more heart than white quarterbacks, as it showed with his predecessor, Carson Wentz. I had no time for that. I had no time for that. Like that's baseless. There's no facts, nothing positive about that. To me, that was a racist comment, and I let her know about it. But there's no, I'm sorry. I like the kid. I want him to do well, but he's got to show me more than a 1-3 record in four starts. He does.
See, here's the thing, Rich. This isn't we're not hating on Rich, or we're not hating on Hurts. I just wasn't impressed. Doesn't mean I'm not going to not root for him. Like, that would be stupid for me to not root for him. That means my team's going to suck. Plain and simple. But I'm also going to be a realist and look at the fact that he wasn't very good. He committed a lot of turnovers. I don't care if they played well after Wentz went on the bench. They still lost games. I don't care they threw for 350 yards against Arizona. Well, once teams got tape on him, his numbers slowed down, as it does with any rookie quarterback. So I don't want to hear that we're hating on Jalen Hurts. I'm not rooting against him. But Chris Sims' listing of him at not being in the top 40, it's probably correct. Like, I'd be mad if I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, he should be in the top 10. There's nothing he did to prove that he belonged in the top 10. Maybe I'm biased. I don't know. Now we're gonna go to our resident Patriot fan.
So
and since he's an outsider, and he's a huge Nick Foles fan, but go ahead.
So my take on this, I just real quick wrote down the quarterbacks in the AFC, and I didn't have time to write them all down for the NFC, but I mean, looking at this, would you take Cam Newton over Jalen Hurts at this point?
Honestly, I don't know. That's too hard. For me, that's a hard one, only because there's so much potential with Cam Newton, and with the way the season was last year, and with him getting COVID, Cam Newton, he's a likable person, but I will say this: if you had to right now, if you held a gun to my head and it was Rich Johnson, and he was saying Jalen Hurts or Cam Newton, I'm going Jalen Hurts because he despises Cam Newton. He hates Cam Newton. He doesn't think he's a good quarterback, which he very well could, be on his way down. He thinks he's overrated. So that's just, that's my opinion. I would take Jalen Hurts over Mac Jones.
Okay. Tua?
I don't know. See, again, I don't know. So and that's why he's not.
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen.
How about the kid from
Josh Allen? Zach Wilson?
Yeah.
I'd take Jalen Hurts over him.
Okay. So
that's
far,
that's my opinion.
Only Josh Allen. So far, only Josh Allen. Ben Roethlisberger.
Well, I'll take Ben.
Baker Mayfield, Joe Burrow, and Lamar Jackson. Anybody out of them?
No.
Okay. Deshaun Watson, Sunshine over Jacksonville. Who's for the life of me, the Tennessee quarterback. He used to play for the Dolphins.
Tannehill.
Tannehill.
Would you take Ryan Tannehill over Jalen Hurts?
I would take Ryan Tannehill, yes.
Carson Wentz. You
yes.
just had him here. Okay, obviously. Mahomes?
Yeah.
I would. Kid Denver stinks. Okay.
That might be where I would put him. I think Drew Lock is ranked like 36th on the list.
Yeah.
So if I had to put him on a list, I would put him above Drew Lock. And that's not saying anything against Drew Lock. Like I said, this was a weird season with COVID. So, we had to we got to put a lot of aspect into This was a different offseason. But like Rich said, give him the benefit of the doubt and give him a full training camp.
Right.
But
and then you have Derek Carr, you have Justin Herbert. He's not better than either of those two.
No, I wouldn't take those two. I mean, I those two would be above Jalen Hurts.
Justin Herbert was the most impressive rookie I've seen in a while.
He's my sleeper pick for MVP.
Yeah, I mean, he had nobody, and he put up massive numbers as a rookie. That kid was an absolute stud last year. Joe Burrow was great in spots until he got hurt, but they don't have an offensive line, so that he's going to continue to get hurt, which kind of sucks for him. But, I mean, that's pretty much the whole AFC there. There was only, 3-4 guys that you'd say, okay, I would take Jalen Hurts over them. The NFC is the same way. I mean, think about the quarterbacks in the NFC North or the South. Well, with Drew Brees gone, he's out of the equation now. But would you take him over Russell Wilson? Would you take him over Tom Brady? Would you take him over?
There's only one NFC East There's only one NFC quarterback I would take him over off the top of my head, and that's Daniel Jones. I am not impressed with Daniel Jones as a quarterback.
Yeah,
I'm not.
No, me neither.
I'm not.
Me neither.
And whoever the quarterback is for the Washington football team, Heineke, I think his name is.
No, Fitzpatrick.
Fitzpatrick.
Fitzpatrick. Well, we all know Fitzpatrick. No, is he on Washington? Yeah, he is on Washington.
Yeah, he's on Washington.
He is. He's on Washington. I forgot. I'm thinking of when he was on Tampa Bay with Deshaun Jackson, but no, he is on Washington. But I don't even know. No, I wouldn't take him over Fitzpatrick because that dude finds ways to win games.
Exactly. Then you got Dak Prescott. Then you have Kyler Murray. Then you have Russell Wilson. Jimmy Garoppolo took the team to a Super Bowl.
Jimmy Garoppolo is overrated.
You would take him over, but you would take Taysom Hill. You wouldn't take Taysom Hill and Jameis Winston over Hurts. I wouldn't. That's me personally. I wouldn't do that.
Well, the only Jameis Winston has the stats. Again, you flip a coin with that one, in my opinion, and that's not saying a lot for Winston as it's like his 6th year, and this kid's going into his 2nd year,
right?
And he's only played 4 games, so that's not a knock on Hurts. That's a knock on Jameis Winston because we're gonna flip a coin to see if you're gonna start.
I think Josh Darnold's starting in Carolina, so
I would take Josh Darnold over Jalen Hurts. I think Josh Darnold has the potential to be a good quarterback. He went to New York. They didn't have any. They had Robbie Anderson, then they traded him or cut him or they didn't re-sign him.
So he's in a much better situation because the Jets blow. So he's in a much better situation playing with Matt Rule. I like Matt Rule. Matt Rule's one of my favorite coaches in the league.
I loved him at Temple. TK Rises. He's a Temple alum. I know he loved Jeff Rule. So
yeah, I love Matt Rule. So he does have
Matt
a better
Rule,
situation there, but I still don't think he's a better quarterback than Jalen Hurts. But I mean, right off the bat, and I'm not a Chris Sims fan. Chris Sims thinks Tom Brady was going to fall off the ledge 7 or 8 years ago.
So did Max. The dude Max
Kellerman.
Max Kellerman has been saying for years that Tom Brady's done.
Right. And Chris Sims has been riding that train too. So I'm not sold on anything Chris Sims really has to say.
But you're right, but you have to look at his rankings of quarterbacks that he's done in the last couple of years. Take away the Tom Brady. Take away Sims' comments about Tom Brady. He's genuinely correct a lot. And that's so it's like I get what you're saying about the Tom Brady. Listen, everyone hates Tom Brady. It's the cool thing to do is to not like him because he's 425 years old. He's still winning Super Bowls. We still have the argument about who's the greatest because he's always had a good defense. He's always had this. He's always had that. I'm over the Tom Brady hate. All right, stop with the passing gas. so
that's funny.
with Rule, when you're talking about Darnold, they got some weapons there. Obviously, they got Christian McCaffrey. As long as he stays healthy, the ceiling is high for Darnold. It really is. It's handoff, and maybe you can hit Christian McCaffrey for a 2-yard screen on 3rd and 2 and get that first down. There's a lot of potential with Christian McCaffrey and Darnold and the rest of their team. That's just again, that's my opinion. Like I said, I think Rule's a good coach. So
yeah, Tom Brady unlikable.
Well, here's the thing, and I will. First off, he's cocky. Everyone knows me, knows I love cocky. I love it. His training, his everything. He looks like a robot. When he got drunk at the Super Bowl parade and came out of his shell 20 years later, I liked him much more than I did before. And everyone knows me. I'm always a Tom Brady, Peyton Manning guy. I go back and forth. Tom Brady wasn't built to drink tequila in 90-degree weather. He was born to drink tequila when it's 10 degrees in Foxborough. He was not ready. As I say, he wasn't ready. He was not ready for that celebration. What guy? Like, he threw the Lombardi Trophy across the ocean to another boat.
Yeah.
Like, how can you not like that?
Well, so
so if he's very unlikable, that's fine, and people will have their unlikable reasons for him, and that's fine. But you got to look at it how he celebrated the win last night, or the Super Bowl victory, just like the guy from Tampa Bay with the Lightning last night, Kucherov. He came to his press conference. He was hammered, like hammered. He didn't have a shirt on. He had pants. He might have been in his boxers, with his boxers and his pads, and then he ripped the Montreal Canadiens fan base. It's quite possibly one of the best interviews, other than the guy who was talking about we were catching babies like Nelson Aguilar. That's how great that interview was.
Oh, dude. How did he get hammered that fast? That's what I want to know.
Because he took a bottle of champagne and drank it like it was a case of water. Because he was drunk. Bad. He was drunk.
I like I said, I'll never understand why people don't like the guy. I mean, he's a born winner.
Because he's not on their team.
He says the right things, but people adore Peyton Manning. The first opportunity Peyton Manning has to throw his teammates under the bus, he's taking it. He threw Jeff Saturday and his offensive line under the bus when they lost to the Steelers when they were the number 1 seed. He did it other times too. He lobbied for to change the rules. To me, he's not a likable guy. To me, the most unlikable guy in the NFL is Aaron Rodgers, but nobody talks about it. Aaron Rodgers is a total asshole. Excuse my language, but he is. That's what he is. I mean, there's a video of him. And the lady had breast cancer. She's standing in the airport wearing a pink hat. She asked him to sign the stuff. He walked right by her like she never asked. Like, just walked right by her. Like, she never asked him, never reached out to him. And Clay Matthews felt so bad about it that Clay Matthews actually signed everything for her, took the stuff, and had more teammates sign it for her because of the way he acted. That's how bad of a guy he is. And nobody says anything about it. He's hosting Jeopardy and everybody loves him, but that's the type of guy that should get that type of hate. He's a clown and he's an ass. And he doesn't even talk to his family. Tom Brady, his mom had cancer. He pretty much won the Super Bowl because she was sick and he wanted to give her that as a gift that year. And anytime he talked about her, he couldn't stop crying about her. Aaron Rodgers' family was in that Malibu fire. He didn't even call them to see if they were okay. He's this despicable, nasty person. Nobody brings that up. Great quarterback, by the way, but if you're gonna hate on somebody, that's the guy. Like, he's not a good person.
He brings. I'm gonna compare it in wrestling. He brings that Vince McMahon type of hate. Like, you like him 1 minute and then you hate him another minute. I'm talking about Aaron Rodgers. Then you like him 1 minute and then you hate him because you like the way he plays football. And then you realize he's really not a nice person.
No.
He's not a decent human being. And like I said, if he's listening, which I doubt he is, I could be 100% wrong. Come on, CEV Sports, and defend your name, Aaron Rodgers, Aaron. But yeah, so going back to the rankings. So where his rankings are, like I said in the beginning of the show, he wasn't top 32. And I don't think he is. But again, it goes back to flipping the coin over Jameis Winston and Drew Lock. That's who would be the 32nd quarterback. Like, when you're flipping the coin to see who's better, that's not a good quarterback. Now, what I will say, what I'm a little angry about, is I truly think Maurice Jones-Drew has CTE
because of the Miles Sanders comments.
Like 27th ranked. Like, I don't get it. Like, there are a lot of good running backs in the league that I would take over. He has the potential. If he's used correctly, he could be a top 5 running back. If he's not used incorrectly, he's not he's not the 28th ranked quarterback running back. I'm sorry, he's not. Like, and again, it's my opinion, but for Maurice Jones to have him at 27 or 28, it's ridiculous. There's no justification behind it, other than I'm just gonna say he's a hater. Like you could name off 20 running backs right now, and probably 10 of them I would take before Miles Sanders, and that's a slim 10. Because, like, let's go to the NFC East. You got Saquon Barkley. You don't know what you're gonna get. He's injury prone now, right? Like, he's injury prone. The running back
I don't know. Guys come back from ACLs pretty spry. I mean, and he's a freak athlete. So I think his situation is going to be more comparable to somebody like Adrian Peterson. I would say Miles Sanders is the third best running back in this division. But that's, again, they are good running backs in this division. So that's the thing. I mean, I look at some teams, and he's much better than the guys they have. You know, in the AFC East, he would be probably the best running back in the AFC East. He'd probably be one of the best running backs in. He'd be probably the only in the AFC North. The only people I could say would be better than him would be Nick Chubb and what's the guy who used to play for KC, the other guy.
Kareem Hunt.
Kareem Hunt. Yeah.
Kareem Hunt.
Yes.
Kareem Hunt.
Yes. Yep. Obviously Derrick Henry, and then that's pretty much it. I would put him above everybody else in the AFC, and the NFC. There's not too many guys that would go ahead of him either. So I definitely think he's a top 10 running back, or if he's just sitting just outside. I mean, he's a great dual threat guy. He can run between the tackles, he can bounce outside, and he catches the ball like a receiver. He's a guy who should be getting, again, if used right, he should be catching 70, 80 balls a year.
If he's catching 70, 80 balls a year, they're winning like 12 games, 11 games. Yeah. In my opinion.
Yeah. No, and look, running backs, I mean, the best, who were the two best dual threat running backs of our time? It was LT for me, and it was Marshall Faulk. Those guys were averaging close to 90 catches a year. And people say, well, they're dump-off passes. Well, no, what it does is it opens up, other passes, to be able to spread the ball out downfield when you do stuff like that. And
a dump-off pass...
It's an extension of the run game, too.
A dump-off pass is Larry Sanders. I don't know if anybody remembers him.
Yeah, I remember Larry
Sanders.
He
was in the Cardinals. Arizona Cardinals.
And the
with the Jake Plumbers of the world. That's a dump-off pass.
And he won a Super Bowl with the Pats, Larry Sanders. His final year. But
did he really?
Did not know that.
Yeah, I did
not know that.
Super Bowl 38. Yeah, he was on that team.
Huh.
The only thing I remember about the Patriots running back is I feel like Kevin Falk played 28 seasons.
Oh, yeah.
I love him.
But it allows, like, the other thing is, too, is that gives the opportunity for guys like Lane Johnson and Jordan Mailata and some of your big guys to be able to just get downfield and get upfield and just blast on linebackers and DBs and just run them over. Like, you want to run a couple passes like that a game. Give those guys an opportunity to get in space and use their athleticism to plow people over. You know what I mean? So that's why they should really try to be using that guy more and more often. Like I said, 70, 80 balls a year where you can just kind of catch that, get him in space, and just let your offensive line just destroy and get downhill. I mean, that's what you want. But Doug didn't use him like that the last 2 years. I mean, I think there were some games where he was getting, 6 touches a game? And he was probably your best playmaker.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah, so I mean...
Yeah, it was bad. And that's what I'm saying is he had 3 touchdown runs of over 60 yards. Yeah. I don't care. Keep feet on the ball. He's going to eventually break one. So if he has 5 games where he has 6 yards on like 10 carries, and then on the 11th carry he breaks it for 40 yards. Well, now you have the dual threat of, okay, well, this guy can run. He can break it at any minute. We're stopping him these 6 times, but there's going to be that one time where he got blasted and he got an opening and he was gone and he's 40 yards upfield.
Yeah.
So, but we're going to switch to Stanley Cup talk after this, because I forgot. Thanks, Eric. So, but with the Eagles, they have potential. If Sirianni can do something with like you said, the screen passes to Miles Sanders. I know we had talked about it last season, like towards the end of the last season and during the playoffs. I expect a really good year, like decent year from Quez Watkins. Like Like I know Eric liked him a couple games. He had that screen pass towards the end of the season. Like he's got potential. I don't think Jalen Reagor.
Go ahead. Go. All right.
No, I don't. I think Jalen Reagor is the slot. You go ahead. You go. We've been talking. You go.
Yeah, I mean, I still think that Quez Watkins is going to have a breakout year this year. I really do. They're going to find ways to really incorporate him into that offense. I mean, I don't know. It takes a lot, but he had those couple of games, and I was like, man, this kid's got it. You know, he's got some good speed. He's got some moves. He can get around people. I'm really excited. They're a very underrated wide receiver core. I mean, I'm not going to.
There's so many of them. There's
a lot of them. They got to try and figure out how to use them. And I literally am very. I would not be surprised if you see a lot more spacing of the ball, like who gets the ball, not more, but a good distribution of it. I wouldn't be surprised. And this is where I think you're going to see a lot of good stuff come out of Jalen Hurts, because I don't know if he's going to have, like, his arm strength is always going to be a question mark. Everyone's always going to doubt it. But he's got wide receivers that can make plays. They can get open. They can get away from defenders. So we may see a lot of 20, 30-yard passes go for 60, 70-yard gains or more. But, yeah, I'm really excited about Quez Watkins. I really like this kid. And, oh, man, like I keep seeing, like, all the workout videos that he has going on, a la Ben Simmons. But I legit really like this kid, and I think he could be real special this year for the Eagles. And
yeah, and I like I said, I'm in agreement with you. I think Jalen Reagor is your slot guy, and I think he's your punt returner. You know, I would trade Greg Ward for a new microphone for my podcast, and I would trade John Hightower, or whoever his name is, for the ashes of Hightower.
Hightower.
I would trade him for the ashes of Hightower from Police Academy.
And you know, you have a large number of Eagles fans that are sternly behind Greg Ward. Like, they think that he is some awesome. I'm like, no, he's still a practice squad guy. Like, that's what he is. That's what he is. And he's only good because he was on the Eagles. They had nobody. That's why he was good. And a certain quarterback made him look even better at times. But different conversation for another time.
So with that, we're going to segue into Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Finals was last night. And, you know, I brought it up earlier about the celebrations. And Tampa Bay repeats, you know, back-to-back, you know. So, you know, they
to do that.
Yeah, they now have more Stanley Cups than the Philadelphia Flyers. So, you know, Flyers fans are losing their mind. I can't believe we let go of Pat Maroon 11 seasons ago. 11. Guys, that's 5. 5. That's 10. That's 1. Sorry. It's 11 seasons ago.
It's over a decade.
He was a sixth. He was a sixth-round pick. Knock it off. He had 7 points in the playoffs. 7. So I don't want to hear it. You know, obviously Luke Shen, he's won back-to-back because he was on Tampa Bay. Oh, I couldn't believe he couldn't do it here. And then Braden Shen won it 3 years ago. So they're like, oh, the Shen brothers, you know, they got back-to-back titles. I'm like, that's your argument? Like, stop it. Now, I will say this. Tampa Bay, they're in a lot of trouble with the salary cap.
Yes, they're
going to lose. They're going to lose half their team, but they have good people. They have good players down in Syracuse, supposedly. But, you know, like, it's going to be interesting. But I want to go back to Kucherov because Kucherov didn't play the entire season. I don't know if anybody knows that. He didn't play, so he didn't. Out. Right, he didn't. So it didn't count against the salary cap. Now that's a hell of a risky move, hoping that you make the playoffs. I know you had a strong team. But again, 56-game season, it was anything was possible. But, you know, he ended up leading the league in playoffs scoring. Like, so they took advantage of the salary cap rule, and, you know.
They played it right. They played it right.
And they're not. But here's the thing: they're not the only team to do it. Like, what's funny is 6 years ago, they complained to the league about it with the Blackhawks because Patrick Kane was out during the season and he was on their long-term IR. So when he came back, I think it was like game 3 of the first round. So when he came back, it doesn't count. But they were over the cap by like $12 million, and they were the ones who wanted. They wanted to institute the rule that if you were over the cap in the playoffs, that the player who was there couldn't be on the roster. They're the only ones who brought it up, and they're the only ones who voted. You're nuts. They're the only ones who voted for it, and they benefited from it. But again, like I said, every team was over the cap for the playoffs. So it's not like it was just one team. Every team was over the cap some way or another, and that's fine. Oh, yeah. So we'll see what happens with the collective bargaining agreement. It's not due for another 5 years. It's not up. So
well, you have to think though that something's probably going to be brought up about what we just saw with Kucherov coming back the way he did, because, like you said, Chris, he missed like the entire season and came back in the playoffs, and that number didn't count. So I think there's going to have to be something put into that next CBA to address teams doing something like that. Now they're totally gambling, you know what I mean? But I mean, because he hurt me in my fantasy league. I have him in my dynasty fantasy hockey league, and believe it or not, my team was awesome without him, which I found very insane. But they were great without him. But then I thought, man, well, what if I made it deep into the playoffs and he came back? I probably would have won. So
right.
So I think in the next CBA, they're going to address that. I mean, they may even try and address it sooner. See what happens, but
we'll see.
I mean, look, if teams want to take that gamble and that risk to circumvent the salary cap, if they want to take that risk and try to circumvent the salary cap that way, go within the rules, let it happen. Yeah. For me, like I said, if it's going to keep teams competitive and better, let it happen. I mean, there's not, like you said, there's nothing that they're doing that's wrong. If they're able to do that, and like you said, they want to take the risk, and the player's okay with it, just let it happen.
Oh yeah, I mean, it let it happen, and it obviously did, and it benefited for them. Like you said, they're now only the 19 to win back-to-back cups. So, I mean, I give them credit. They tried something. It worked in their favor, and look at them now. Had them drunk, shirtless, and ripping the Montreal fans after the game.
Which was just crazy. And he was 100% on point. And that's like where, because now, you know, the new thing is now, well, not the new thing, but now people are talking like, oh, well, he shouldn't have said that. Why?
Why not?
Like, if we can turn around and bash said player, why can't said player turn around and bash you, your fan base?
Exactly.
Like I said for the last 6 weeks, like during the playoffs, the NFL and everything else, about how, you know, everybody thought that Carson Wentz should have talked to the media. But I was like, why? He should have talked to the media and to the fan base. Why? He doesn't owe this fan base anything. He's the backup quarterback. Like, backup quarterbacks don't talk to the league, to the press.
No,
especially in a Zoom world. Like, it'd be one thing if it was face to face. The backup quarter doesn't do that. And And another thing I want to bring up about fans is our fans are all up in their feelings about a cartoon, which was hilarious, and it wasn't even taking a dig at anybody. No. I don't get it.
Like, and the new thing today, everybody's freaking out over Danny Green with his words, and I have no problem with it. Like, I'm at the point now where it's like you just said, if we can dish it, then we should be able to take it. That's how I look at it.
Here's where the Danny Green thing was kind of off kilter, though. While Danny Green was off winning championships with the Raptors, with San Antonio, with the Lakers, we were here processing, and the fans stood behind the process. The fans turned out for the process. The fans did this. The fans have a legitimate gripe with what Ben Simmons did. And like I said before, Ben Simmons is a coward, and a coward's never going to read well in Philadelphia. So that guy has deserved everything he's gotten. and for Danny Green to turn around and say, well, the fans need to support him. Fans, you know what, dude? Kiss my ass, because you weren't here during the bad years. You weren't here to see that. Sixers 24/7, which is probably the biggest Sixers fan page out there, had like 30,000 members at the time, and were loyal and stayed with the team and believed in the team, believed in what they were doing, and you didn't see any of that. So now you're looking and you're saying, oh, well, they're just spoiled because this team's been good for the last few years. Now they're billing. No, like, this fan base invested a lot of time into this, and for that guy to not shoot the ball for 4 straight fourth quarters is a total slap in the face to every one of those fans.
Yeah, that was bad.
Right. Yeah, and those fans have every right to say what the hell they said to him. And for him to come out and defend Ben Simmons was wrong. If you don't got anything nice to say at that time, you just don't answer the question. The last thing you do there is you rip those fans.
I think he was just defending a teammate. I really do. That's what I honestly think it was. I mean, but like you said, the fans were there during the process, and he wasn't. Look what the fans also did, how they got behind Fultz, Markelle Fultz. They got behind him. Like, that kid, he finally shot the ball he finally shot it and made it, and they cheered. They stood up and cheered because he made a shot. So, I mean,
the other thing is too is, like, Danny Green's he's a free agent this year. Like, he's not coming back, so he didn't need to defend. That guy's not his teammate anymore. And look, Ben Simmons is the type of guy. Ben Simmons ain't going out of his way for anybody, defend anybody.
No, and listen. You know me. I'm the first to rip our fan base, and while I agree with some of the things Danny Green said, there's more that I disagree with, because, like Pat alluded to, you weren't here during the 32-game losing streak or 26-game losing streak that we endured, that we watched all night, like that we watched the Ish Smiths of the world, and you weren't there. So you know what? It was frustrating, but in my opinion, and this is only my opinion, I don't think Ben Simmons is getting that type of heat that he deserves. He is not getting that Carson Wentz heat. He's getting some heat, but he's not getting that Carson Wentz heat that is still going on, which is ridiculous, because Ben Simmons is 65% of the reason we lost that series. He shot 34% from the free throw line. By the way, again, we go back to our earlier shows, where Pat had said that, they can't shoot 65% from the line, and if they shoot, they're going to lose, and they shot 65% from the line, which is a total disgrace. And again, I go back to,
what did Phoenix go for the stripe the other night?
Honestly, I'm going to be completely honest with you. Between the Sixers and the Hawks series, and the Nets and the Bucks series, I haven't watched a single ounce of playoff basketball since, because the officiating has turned me off to it. I swear I haven't watched the blessed thing. My son was telling me about
25 for 26 from the line.
That's ridiculous.
They missed their last foul shot of the night. Jay Crowder missed his last foul shot with like 4 seconds left in the game. They almost went 25. They almost went 26 for 26 from the foul line. That's what an NBA team should be shooting from the foul line.
No, you're right.
I agree. Totally agree.
And that's the difference. But, like, Ben Simmons is off right now gallivanting with his new girlfriend at Wimbledon. Meanwhile, you got a guy like Tyrese Maxey who's hitting the gym. That's the difference between a guy who's satisfied with where he's at in his career and a guy who wants to keep trying to get better. I said the guy's completely content. He's completely content with where he is as a player right now, and he has no desire to get better.
But he is not catching that NW type of heat, NWO type of heat that Carson Wentz. And Carson Wentz did nothing wrong. No. Did nothing wrong. He talked to the media. He's like, I got to do this better. I got to do that better. I'm going to be in the offseason doing this. And he's at Wimbledon, which I don't care. We knew Ben Simmons isn't going to work on his jump shot. We knew this. Why are we shocked? I'm not.
No, I'm not either. It's an insult, though. Like, when you're told, he's skipping the games because he wants to work out. Like, it's an insult to the fans. Like, we know he's going to come back in October and he's not going to have a better jump shot. It's just a slap in the face. Don't say anything.
Listen, all I know is the rumors are there that the Sixers are making a push this year for somebody. So we'll see what happens. So going back to the Heat, like that I blamed, and I made my point a couple of weeks ago. Tobias Harris is a big reason they lost too. Like he committed. He averaged 2 turnovers a game, but his 2 turnovers were at the most inopportune times in 2 games. You can't do that. And obviously, Doc Rivers, you can't blow 2 20-point leads at home. You do that. Again, it goes back to just being a bad coach. And he's a good coach, but in key situations, he seems to fold, and I don't know why. It's mind-boggling. So, but go ahead, Pat. What else?
Well, I don't know if I know Chris said he didn't watch the finals, but watching the Suns, they would have beat anybody. Even if we would have gotten to the finals, they would have beat us. That team plays basketball the way you're supposed to. You got Chris Paul, who is playing at a level right now that I haven't seen a point guard play at. So I don't even know who, maybe ever that I've seen. I mean, Isaiah Thomas, I guess, back in the day, but, Isaiah Thomas, he was, I was a young buck when he was playing well like that. But he's been fantastic. And DeAndre Ayton, I think he's 23 years old right now. He's a star already. He does 3 yards.
Absolutely not, Timothy. I'm sorry to cut you off. Absolutely not.
No way. So I tell you the guys what I think.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but that just came up and I had to put it up.
No problem. But he brought up LeBron, so I'll touch on that real fast. I heard the plot to Space Jam, woke Space Jam, the one that's coming out with LeBron. I heard he loses, and then the post-game press conference, he goes in and says, "I can't do it all by myself." And he goes and he takes his talents to the Monstars.
You have no idea how much I wish that was true.
Yeah, so that's what I heard. That might be the case, but yeah. But watching DeAndre Ayton, I mean, the guy does the 3 R's. He rolls off the pick and roll. He rebounds and he runs the floor well as a 6'11" center, and he's a hell of a rebounder. So you got the number 5 position locked up there, and Devin Booker is just Devin Booker. I mean, the guy just can knock down shots from all over the place. And they got a nice cast of characters for him. Jay Crowder's 3-and-D, and they got Michael Bridges, who was a Sixer for about 5 seconds. Coming off the bench. They're just playing better basketball, and they play good team basketball. I don't know if I've seen a team that plays good team basketball that's going to win a finals since maybe the Spurs.
I was just going to say the Spurs
won Pistons in 04 too. Yeah,
no. So if like you said, going back real quick, like the Spurs, because their ball movement was just like it really was. And as for a guy who played basketball, it was ridiculous to see. Like because that was the one thing that Pop always said. Move that ball around so you have the perfect shot.
Yep. Yeah, and then like the 04 Pistons, same way. They can just lock it down on defense. I'm enjoying watching the Suns team play. I wish and the basketball IQ is high on that team too. They got a lot of smart players, and I enjoy watching that. The Sixers, as much talent as they have, the basketball IQ is just not there, and it's so frustrating to watch because I hate watching stupid basketball, and they consistently play stupid basketball, especially in big moments. So it's frustrating. So. I look at a guy like Chris Paul. There was a team that was sub 500 last year. He comes in and just everything he's done, both on the court, mentally, all that, has had such a great effect on that team that now they're in the finals and they're 3 games away from winning it. So I'm very impressed by what he's done. He should be the finals MVP, and he is the point guard. So,
all right. So we're gonna go to Timothy's comment, and then you guys can lead. I'll give you my opinion, but.
Oh. Philly's getting a wild card. Wow, that's a good one, Tim. I'm not sure that they do. I just don't trust that bullpen. I mean, they just had a recent run where they had some fun games just recently, but yeah, I don't know, man. I just really don't trust that bullpen. It kills. It really kills. And yeah, I mean, what do you think, Pat?
No, I think they're 500
because I don't see it.
I think they're going to go through long stretches of losses. I think they're going to continue to have games where they lose 4 or 5 in a row, and then I think they're going to have games where they go and they win 4 or 5 in a row. So they're so up and down. They're so inconsistent. To me, and being just like I said, 500 team, I don't see them being able to get a wild card finishing it with a 500 record. like that's going to be impossible. So no, I don't think they have a chance. I actually think they should be sellers at the trade deadline.
All right, so here we go. I think they get a wild card. I'm going out on a limb here.
Let me ask you this then: like who are they trading at the deadline? Because they got you got to figure.
It depends who they trade for.
Have to figure they got to try and replenish that farm system.
Listen, unless they're going to
be
complete
sellers.
If they're going to be complete sellers, then
where'd just go?
That's you. It ain't us. We're good.
Well,
you're frozen.
We're having trouble connecting. It's caused by an unstable internet connection. All right, so right now you guys are there. I don't know if that's you.
And he's gone.
Well, I removed him, so I'm gonna wait and see.
Here, if we're still going, I have no.
So, but I have faith in the Phillies. As bad as they are,
back to what Timothy asked about.
Faith in the Phillies, my God, man.
They're too inconsistent. Their bullpen. So, I'm gonna say no. Oh, we coming back here? What's going on?
Are you here? Because
Chris.
We're missing you. We're here.
I agree with you, Pat. I don't see it.
Just because you got the 1989 paneling doesn't mean you have to have 1989 internet.
With it. Whatever.
What?
Can you hear me, Pat?
I can hear you.
Well, I can hear you.
Well, there you are.
Did you hear what I said? Did you hear what I said?
No.
Just because you have 1989 paneling doesn't mean you have to have 1989 internet connection.
Did
you hear that?
I heard that now, but I have full Wi-Fi. And
all right, so now let's go back to me. So because we were cut off.
Technical guy crap. Go figure that one. Yeah.
So 1889 paneling. So here's my thing. Here we go. Yeah, I'm with you, Jonathan Benner. I think they do trade him this offseason.
I agree.
That's necessary. Have to. He can't come back here.
No. So when we're gonna go back, if anybody else comments, we'll get back to that. But the Phillies are, to me, the Phillies are good enough to make the wild card. That's it. They're not good enough for anything else. Now here's my reasoning why. As bad as their bullpen is, this stat is gonna blow your mind, and you're gonna look at me like I'm crazy. But again, I'm a stats guy. 6 pitches. They're 6 pitches away from being 47-37. Think about that for 1 second. Just think about 6 pitches in 6 games, and they've blown. What the hell is going on?
What?
So that's crazy. So 6 pitches from being 47-37. The Mets, they should have swept, but once again, it's Joe Girardi not knowing how to use his pitching staff. Yeah, and like a lot of these losses that they've had were on Joe Girardi. So he's not a good manager. Yes, it does make them mediocre.
Chris, if you analyze every team in the league and kind of do the similar thing of where they would be if you discounted this pitch, that pitch, they'd all be 10 games better than what they are.
Yeah, but I'm only analyzing the Phillies.
But those are things that happen during the year, and that contributes to the record. Like the fact that they've given up those 6 pitches that have cost them games is one of the reasons why they are 500. Like that's exactly why they're.
Well, and then we can go with if you go back to the 6 pitches for the Mets.
Well, the Mets did lose a game this year on a bad call, which we benefited from, if you remember.
Okay, and the Mets also won 5 games on horrendous calls by the official. Like Michael Conforto not moving out of the way, that's a disgrace, and you can't review that. Yep. Get out of here.
Yeah, no, that's true. But like I said, I look at this team and it's flawed outside. Like this, I think if we try to play this thing out, I think we're going to have a bad August. And then we're going to wish that we were sellers. Like right now, Andrew McCutchen his stock's very high. He's on a tear, and we're coming up he's on a tear in a perfect month because if we move that guy, we could get somebody for him, especially to a contending team. I would try to unload Rhys Hoskins. I would try to unload Aaron Nola, even maybe Zach Wheeler if you get the right group of prospects. But my main concern, I'm looking at that and saying, hey, we can restock the farm system. The issue I have with it is I don't trust the Phillies' talent evaluation to restock with the right talent. So I would love to be a seller there, but I'd also like to be a seller and have somebody from the Marlins come in or somebody from the Rays come in and say, yeah, you want to take that prospect, that guy, not the yo-yos that are down working for the Phillies. I don't trust anything that they're doing down there with talent evaluation. So that's the issue I have. But yes, in a normal situation where I do trust the talent evaluation, I would say definitely be sellers there, and those have been 4 guys. Because I think you could get a king's ransom for prospects with them.
So here's my thing, and I completely forget what I was going to say, to be honest with you. Now I know. So here's the thing where you're saying trade Rhys Hoskins. While I agree, and if they're not sellers, that's fine. But you got to remember something. They're going to institute the DH into the National League next year. I truly believe that. And the Phillies have 2 DHs, and they both play at the corners, and they both blow. And they both blow at the corners. Who?
Rhys Hoskins.
Considering he's the number 1 offensive first baseman when it comes to extra base hits, he's absolutely a DH.
But he had a 0 for 32 streak this year. DHs don't go 0 for 32.
I get what you're saying.
I want Edgar Martinez as my DH. I want a guy who's going to go up there and he's going to produce.
You got to understand, but that's not how baseball is anymore. That's just not how baseball is. Baseball's batting average is like an average along across the league is like 240. Not everyone is Ohtani, who is ridiculous. Not everyone is Mike Trout. Not everyone is, Acuna, like all them.
Yeah, so, I've heard a lot of you can't win playing this way. I heard it in 2003 with the Marlins. You can't win playing small ball. Marlins went and beat everybody, beat a loaded up Yankees team. Then years later, when the Royals won, and people were saying, "Hey, you can't really win with the style they're built. Their starters only get to 5 or 6 innings, and they turn it over to the bullpen, and they don't have enough. They don't have enough power in their lineup, things like that." And they won. They were in back-to-back World Series, and they won one. Like I said, I hear that a lot all the time. The Rays play a unique style of baseball. You can win a variety of different ways in playing baseball. I think, again, as a DH, I think you want to bring a guy in that's going to hit like 330. And they're going to do a lot of different things for you than just have Rhys Hoskins, who is streaky. Like I said, if you have a DH, you don't want a guy who's streaky like that.
I get what you're saying, but so pull up the stats. Like, think about it. Like, you want a DH who's going to hit, 310, 300, and hit like 30 home runs, right?
I would even take 25, 24 home runs, something like that, mid-20s. Drive in over 100 runs. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a guy who's probably somewhere in the mid-20s for home runs, drives in over 100 RBIs, and hits around 300 is what I would like to say.
All right, so you think so?
And those guys don't grow on trees, but I mean, you got to get a vet that's at the end of his career that can still hit.
Right. So for me, the best. So if you had to, who would you think is the best DH in the league right now? Just off the top of your head, if you can think of any.
Best DH.
Keith knows this. Keith knows who the best DH is. He's going to make a comment in a minute. There it is.
Ohtani.
Yeah. He's batting 280 with he's batting 280 with obviously 32 home runs. He set the Asian or the Korean record for most home runs by an Asian-born player, and it's not the All-Star break.
It's funny.
He's got. Go ahead.
I didn't even realize Ohtani was a DH. I thought he was an outfielder.
No, he plays outfield from time.
He only pitches.
Yeah.
So, he's got an on-base percentage of 364. His slugging 700. His OPS is 1.064, which is ridiculous. He's got 81 hits. He's got 32. He's got 32 home runs, 18 doubles, and 4 triples. So he's got 54 extra base hits. The rest are all singles. Like, he's got double the amount of extra base hits than he does singles. Like, that's insane. You know, he's got 63 runs. He's got 12 stolen bases. Like, that's pretty impressive. And he's a DH, and when he pitches. But it just goes back to, you know, like, the game. There aren't that many 300 hitters anymore. Or in DH. Like, probably the second best DH is probably Nelson Cruz. And that's where I get mad that the NL wasn't into the DH yet, because I would have signed Nelson Cruz this year. He's got 18 home runs and 45 RBIs. He's got a 300 batting average. His OPS is obviously lower, and the slugging is down. But, you know, obviously because he's got less home runs than Ohtani. But then again, Ohtani's a freak. Which, if you're listening, go on Twitter and go to Ohtani's home runs. What they do, they're pretty funny.
So a guy like Wilson Ramos is who I'd be looking for. He's hitting 306 right now. His on-base percentage is at 358. He's got 39 runs scored, 15 home runs, 70 RBIs. That's the guy you're looking for. Miguel Cabrera, another one. He's hitting 299, 22 RBIs, 3 home runs, 17 runs, runs so far. You know, Matt Kemp's another one. He's been on a tear. He's hitting 290. You know, he's got 21 home runs. Stop. What year are you looking at? Oh, I'm sorry, Matt Kemp. Yeah, that was last year.
Because I'm like, Wilson Ramos is batting 200 with 6 home runs and 13 RBIs. Where do you got those players? I don't want Wilson Ramos.
Hitting 306 though with that. I mean,
that was last season. That was last season. This season he's hitting 200.
Oh, no, this is 2021. No, I'm sorry. Fantasy baseball. That's what I'm looking at.
Wilson Ramos is. Are we talking about the catcher from the Tigers?
Yes.
He's batting. I'm
Cleveland.
looking at.
No, it's for Cleveland.
No, unless there's a different.
Sorry. Yes. Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right.
So he's batting 200, and his OPS is 630, which is not good. His on base is 238. His slugging's 390. He's only got 200 batting average. Like, we already got those players. I don't want another one. So, like, that's just me. You know, like, but when you're playing the DH, you know, always in the back of your mind, you worry about when you're playing first base and you're Rhys Hoskins. You know, if Rhys Hoskins was Ryan Howard, we wouldn't give 2 shits about his defense. We wouldn't. Ryan Howard was not a good defensive first baseman.
No.
But he hit 365 home runs in like 9 seasons. So we overlooked that, and I was okay with that. So think about that. Like so that's how you overlook a person's deficiency. In my opinion. Like, that's just I could be wrong, but you overlook someone who isn't a very good defensive. Like, he never could make the throw to second. He would nail the runner in the back of the head every single time.
Right.
So, but again, I'm not. We all love Ryan Howard, you know, other than the moron who threw the beer bottle at him. But no one cared about his defense. You know when they cared about his defense? When they weren't winning anymore. And at that point, he was at the end of his career. He'd blown his Achilles. He was hurt, and that's fine. Yeah, I don't know about Maton at third. That's I don't know. I don't know what Maton has. Listen, we still have Bryson Stott in the minors, who's doing really good right now. So, you know, we'll see what happens. If I'm trading anybody, like you said, if they're sellers, it's probably Segura and McCutchen. Although apparently on your page, people want Bryce Harper gone.
That makes a lot of sense.
It's not even worth getting into it because I'm over the Bryce. Yeah, they want Bryce Harper traded.
See, Idiot Delphia. That's what I always say. Sometimes they're smart, but other times they're idiot Delphians. Idiots. Bryce freaking Harper. See, now you just set me off. Ugh. Show's over, guys. No.
Go on your last minute rant before we sign off.
No rant. No.
Absolutely not. I can see the vein in your forehead from over here. You just knocked out the Mayfair sign in Mayfair.
Damn right I did. That's some bullshit. Bryce freaking Harper. Come on.
Look at the comment. Look at the comment. He's joking. He's joking. He's joking. He's joking. He's joking. I'm kidding. Like I'm telling you, he's kidding.
All right, good. I was going to say because I see that button that says block person. I was about to do that crap. No. Yeah, no. See, that's just one of those. The people that don't want Bryce Harper, or they want him gone, those are the ones that just have no patience. And in baseball, that is the biggest virtue to have is patience.
But you know what? So the people who like, if I'm gonna guess, the people who were on Pat's page, who were talking about Bryce Harper. You know, their argument will be, and Pat, you can correct me if I'm wrong. He doesn't drive in enough runs. Is that probably like a key argument that you have? He doesn't drive in enough runs.
I think. See, here's the thing. So I believe it's not any one stat. I think people look at the money, which it's not their money. I don't know why people care about the price tag of it, but they look at that and they just say, you know, we paid for a top 5 guy, and he's not a top 5 guy. And that's part of the problem. The Phillies did pay for a top 5 guy, and he's probably not a top 5 guy. So that is kind of a problem with the price tag, but he kind of is what he is. I mean, he's a good player. He's streaky, but he does everything well, and he's your best player. So you build around that guy. He's still going to be with the organization 8-9 years down the line probably because he's still young at this point, or I should say young enough at this point that he's still going to be here for a while. A lot of the guys that you have, like the real Mutos, I think when the team, and like I said, my post was about, you know, let's restock. Let's try to win this 3 or 4 years down the line because we can't win now, I think, as the team's constructed. Bryce Harper would be a guy that would still be with the team. JT Realmuto, I don't think so. Catchers don't last that long. All right. I see him kind of breaking down eventually. He's not going to be here for that run. Zach Wheeler, I don't think he'll still be around either. Andrew McCutchen won't be around, and he's hot right now, so you can get something for him. Segura. There's guys that you can trade that you can really reload the farm system if you desire to do it. This would be the year to do it. Rhys Hoskins is a guy that could be around, but I think Rhys Hoskins could get you a pretty good ransom to the right team. So, like I said, my thing is I don't think it was any one real stat. I think people look and they say, that's a guy we paid a lot of money for, and he's not Mike Trout, and he's not, Fernando Tatis Jr. He's not, who else out there has a huge contract like that? Like a Mookie Betts. He's not him. That's what they're looking at. That's what they expected, and they got what they got. And
so here, I'm going to read off some stats about Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper has a higher on base percentage than Acuna, Judge, and Mookie Betts. He has a higher slugging than Judge, Gallo, Soto, and Betts. He's got a higher average than Soto, Acuna, and Betts. He has more home runs than Betts, Soto, and Tesco or Hernandez, and they all made the All-Star team. So I get what you're saying and what people are saying. It's just people really don't understand the game of baseball. They don't. It's just my opinion. Again, I'm just saying that's my opinion. Harper's not an RBI guy. He's never been an RBI guy. He's driven in 100 runs 3 times in his entire career. Mm-hmm. He hit 42 home runs the year he won the MVP, and he had 99 RBIs. Yeah. He's an on-base guy. Like when he scored from first on that double the other day, like that ignited the team, and they just went on a tear. Yeah. So, like, I don't want to hear I'm not saying this is directed to you, but the whole Bryce Harper is this, Bryce Harper is that. When you break down the numbers and the stats, Bryce Harper is worth every penny to this Phillies organization. Me and T-Can Rises, we went to the Phillies game Sunday. We sat in right field. Do you know why we sat in right field? We sat in right field to watch Bryce Harper. We came out for I wanted to be there for when he did the bow. And apparently, Brad Miller's got a 2 home run game. What?
Bamboo Brad.
Bamboo Brad. So for anyone to say that Bryce Harper isn't worth the money, like I said, at the end of the day, they don't know stats. I know what you're saying.
Again, though, let me just run through, and we'll say, who would you rather have? Would you rather have Mike Trout or would you rather have Bryce Harper?
Oh, obviously Trout. I mean, he's
Mookie
just
Betts.
He's got better numbers than Mookie Betts.
Okay, so you'd rather have Harper. How about Juan Soto?
Soto.
Acuna.
I like Acuna.
Freddie Freeman.
Harper.
Right, 2 different positions.
Fernando Tatis.
2 different positions. And Fernando Tatis is a freak.
Yelich.
I'd take Harper.
Lindor.
No, you know what? That's a coin toss. Because they're both good.
Arenado from St. Louis.
2 different positions. But
Cody Bell. Okay, so we'll just stick to the outfield. How about Cody Bellinger?
I would take Harper. And I'll tell you right now. Go read off the outfielders.
Read out, yeah. Okay. Let me Aaron Judge.
I would take Bryce Harper over Aaron Judge.
Okay.
This is how we're going to end their show.
Cody Bellinger.
I would take Bryce Harper.
Yelich.
Again, that's a coin toss.
Acuna.
I would take.
I would take Acuna.
Based on age and his contract, that stupid contract he signed, or was that Albies? I think it was Acuna. But go ahead.
It's Acuna. Soto.
I would take Bryce Harper.
I mean, Soto. If we're going to talk stats, his stats are right in line with Ted Williams at this point.
I take Soto. I take Soto all day.
Mookie Betts and Mike Trout. I mean, to me, all the guys I named there, I think were, except maybe Cody Bellinger, I would take before I would take Harper.
All right,
but I just read, like, I get what you're saying, but he's got better stats than them.
So what you were saying as far as for on-base percentages, but do they drive in more runs? Do they score more runs? Do they hit more home runs?
But is that his fault that there's no one on base? Bryce Harper should be a leadoff guy. If Bryce Harper was a leadoff guy, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Everyone knows me. Eric I've been saying for months, TCAN rises. Knows I've been saying it for months. He should be batting leadoff. He's got 14 home runs that are all solo. That's not his fault that he's come up 68 times with 2 outs and no one on base. No one on base.
Yeah,
that's a disgrace.
Yeah, he had a bunch over this past weekend where he hit a bunch of home runs. Again, there were solo shots. I mean, that's not his fault. Obviously
obviously he's come up in key moments where there's people on base, and he strikes out. But that's what people look at. They don't look at in the first inning he's coming up with 2 outs and no one's on base. He's coming up in the 4th inning with 2 outs and no one on base. No one looks at those stats.
Yeah, I mean, right now he's ranked 5th best outfielder in baseball by most places. They have Mookie before him. They have Ronald Acuna. They have Soto. They have Trout. And they have Yelich. Are the 5 top outfielders in baseball. So again, we were paying what people thought was that they were paying for a top 5 overall player, infield, outfield, whatever. He's not even a top 5 outfielder by most statistical categories. So that kind of lets people down. I kind of knew what he was, and frankly, they needed to put butts in the seats there, and they wanted to make a big splash. And getting this guy was a big splash. And I like Bryce Harper. I think I knew what he was when they were getting him. But that's where a lot of the heartburn comes. There's a lot of people say, well, he's not a top 5 player, but we paid him top 5 money. It was a bidding war. They need to get the guy to come here. They wanted a guy that was going to fill the seats, and they got him. Yeah, so that's what it was.
So, but with that, we'll sign off.
Yeah, I was going to say, we got a minute left?
No, we can go on for hours. There's no time limit on. There's no time limit on StreamYard.
Well, why'd you text me 1 minute?
I don't know, because I thought you needed to get off.
Oh, no.
You guys have a little side text here, and I'm not involved in it, so it makes me a little comfortable. I feel like I'm the odd guy out here.
You are the odd guy out. But like I get what you're saying. He the top 5 outfield, but like his numbers say, like, All right, so his WRC. Does anyone know what WRC is? Anybody?
I'm not sure.
It's a weighted. It's basically the weighted runs that are created plus, which is it takes the statistic runs created and adjust that number to account for more external important factors like ballpark or ERA. It's adjusted, so he's got a higher WRC than Aaron Judge, Soto, and Mookie Betts. So why people are saying that he's a top 5 outfielder and that Acuna is better than him, and who was it that you said? Yelich and Trout. Which Trout's number one. Like I don't even Trout doesn't even belong in this conversation. But the people who were probably saying that he's top 5, if I'm guessing, and I could be 100% wrong, they're not looking at all the stats. And the two guys I do the Diamond Club podcast with, they're all about stats and the money and the value are that he is making, like that he does, what he brings to this team. So if Bryce Harper isn't on this team, JT Realmuto isn't on this team. Plain and simple. I know Realmuto's having a down season, but he's not on this team. Zach Wheeler's probably not on this team. Yeah, it's more to it than money. Like, you named all those players, right? You named Aaron Judge, right?
Yes.
How many World Series does he have?
0.
Right. You named Acuna Jr. How many World Series does he have? You named Mike Trout. How many World Series? So if I'm going to put anyone based on like playoff and rankings, it's going to be Mookie Betts. It's going to be Soto because he's got the 1. And that's it. Maybe Christian Yelich. No, Christian Yelich.
He always has an MVP.
So does Bryce Harper.
Yeah, so he's right in line with that.
So I mean, I told you, Christian Yelich, it's a flip of the coin. I like Christian Yelich. I think he's I know he had the MVP season. I think he's a very underrated player. I don't think he gets enough coverage. And I guess because he's in Milwaukee.
See, but I also look at it like this too. You got to look at the teams that are around these guys. All right, like you show me.
But you want to look at the team around these guys, and you're right. But what does Harper have around him? He's got a 34-year-old Kutch. He's got no center fielder. He's got no third baseman. He's got an okay first baseman, and he's got a shortstop who can't play defense. Although he made a great play Saturday night, and he's got Gene Segura and Realmuto. He's got no pitching staff. So, and then you look at the other teams, and then you look at the years that Mookie Betts won the World Series and how stacked that team was. Look at the year when Bryce Harper left, how stacked that team ended up being. Like, bringing up Soto was the best thing that team ever did because he wasn't there, and he goes off. Juan Soto makes me want to punch him in his face because he's so good.
Well, like I said, look, I'm not discrediting anything the Harper's doing, but
no, I know.
You know what I mean? But I'm looking at where the team is in general. Like, where would they be if Harper had literally somebody else on that team? Like, I heard the other day people were talking about, they were comparing Bryce Harper and Manny Machado because they were the 2 big free agents that year
of 2019, right?
Right. So they were the 2 big free agents of that year, and their numbers are actually very, very similar to each other.
They are.
And I found that funny because Machado has Tatis Jr. on his team. You know what I mean? It's like, I was looking at like who's around them, and I thought Harper doesn't have Tatis Jr. You know what I mean? He doesn't have anybody. He has absolutely nobody that's in that upper echelon to be considered in the same tier as him, as far as like in the top 25 or whatever in the game. And I just found it funny because I was like, you got Harper, Machado, those 2 big guys, and one has at least another player, the other one doesn't.
This is what I'll end. This is what I'll end it on. You take Bryce Harper off this team, they're the worst team in baseball.
They're terrible. They're absolutely
terrible.
Nobody
goes to the games.
Right, they're a 20 team. They're a 20 win, and they're the Baltimore Orioles.
Yeah,
that's basically what it is.
yeah, basically.
So, he's kidding. But like that's another thing you have to look at. It's like if you take Bryce Harper off this team, again, they don't have JT Realmuto and they don't have Zach Wheeler. Are we really relying on Aaron Nola? No, they would probably lose 100 games without these players.
To tell you the truth, I don't rely on Nola now. He has. No. You want to talk about a guy that has streaky games? Like he's like the Fitzpatrick of the Philadelphia Phillies. He'll have like 2 or 3. He'll have like
that's a good comparison.
2 or 3 great outings, and then he's back to throwing like AAA. And so you don't know which guy you're going to get. That's why I say he's not a legit ace. He's only an ace because he was the best that they had.
Right. He's a number 3.
Right.
Yeah.
He's in number 3. The only problem is we don't have a number 2.
No.
Right.
So you have anything else to add, Pat, before we go?
No, good.
Nah, I'm good too. I thought this was a fun show. So
I know Pat won't be on next week.
Right, he's going to be up to Poconos.
Peeing on a squirrel.
No, that's me. I pee on squirrels.
So I'm gonna do a couple plugs. We'll be on Monday night. I don't even know if Pat has access to the Facebook page. Somebody from the Charlotte Bat Company. He's trying to get a Major League Baseball team in North Carolina, which I'm all for. Whatever.
No, it's not the Charlotte Bat Company. It's the Charlotte Bats baseball team. That's what they're trying to get. All
right, tells you how much I pay attention. So it's a Charlotte Bats baseball team. So he will be on, and then again, I don't know. I texted you the login, but I don't know if you saw anything on Twitter, Pat. If you saw the Brits guy, the NFL is going to be coming on with us.
Okay.
At 4:00 on the
22nd.
22nd. Are you home?
Oh, yeah. I'll be
all
home.
Right, so to hear to talk some football with people across the pond is going to be phenomenal.
I can't wait. I'm so excited for this show.
That's so. I want to try. Like, if we can get them on once a month, and if we do like 3 shows a week, I want them on, especially during football season. Like, it would be phenomenal. So,
is that going to be a cross promotion too? Are we going to go on their show?
I don't. I don't even know if they do. I don't even know if they
have a show.
But they have a show, but I don't think they have a StreamYard. Because when I was talking to the guy, he's like, I don't think we have StreamYard. So the only issue is the time difference.
Right.
So it's 4 p.m. for us, but it's 9 p.m. for them.
Right.
So which is no big deal. So we're gonna be on with them, and then obviously you saw the post. We're trying to build a network, trying to have different shows on. So I know we reached out to someone else, and they're actually starting the show, and who knows when they're going to start it, but they sound pretty excited, and they're going to stream. Once they come up with a name, we'll be pushing their stuff on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. And Eric put the post out about the network. If anybody wants to do their own show, it could be on anything. If you want to talk, I'm going to make Keith happy. If you want to talk, Loki series, you want to talk, the Star Wars series, like this is open for anything. The only thing that I would recommend is if you're going to come on and talk, is try to have 2 hosts. Although 3 is better, but if you're going to talk sports or anything else, I would always try to have 3, because then you. Like me, I go off on a rant for 12 minutes while Eric's eating popcorn and just laughing at me as I'm destroying the Philadelphia fan base. So, and then this will be up. This episode would be up on what? Spotify and Apple?
Actually, it's going to go out on a multitude of different platforms, but it's mostly Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll get that up as soon as I can.
Yeah, so you just got to download the audio. So
yep.
I don't know. And with that, Eric, you can do your spiel as you do on Anchor, but we're not on Anchor anymore because we're on StreamYard.com.
Oh no! No. The last show, I took the audio, I uploaded it to Anchor.
There you go. We're good.
That's how we got. That's how we got onto Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and other podcast outlets. So I was able to take this audio and put it onto Anchor. which is why I can't wait until I get an actual podcast room that I can set up my actual podcast equipment over $600 that I bought, and I can do all this stuff for my little iPad stuff and have fun. You guys just talk, and I'll just be doing my thing.
All right. Well,
and yes, I'm doing the hand thing.
Do your spiel.
Okay. All right, everybody. Thank you again for joining for another edition of the Philly podcast. I'm Eric Perugini, his Chris Layhiff, and we have a lot of noisy kids in the background. Have a good night, everyone. See you later. Bye, guys.
Peace out. That got really loud.